Welcome to the old Stoney's podcast right here on Talkcast PDX and CanonCast 420. We're live from the Talkcast PDX studios today. Matt Crisione, my co-host, is off on a special assignment to the Emerald City. He's up in Seattle hanging out, enjoying himself. He'll be back next week when we will be at the Grass Studios, and we'll have Ideal Farms. Troy Moore will be with us, and that's next week. But this week, I'm flying solo by myself, sort of, kind of. I got a great guest that is waiting in the wings for us. But I just want to remind everybody you can watch live on the Facebook Live channel at Talkcast PDX, as well as their YouTube channel, Twitter, and Twitch channels. And you can also watch on the CanonCast 420 Facebook Live channel as well. So check it out everywhere. And also go to Talkcast PDX and check out their other great shows. Yeah, they got tons of shows now. And you're going to want to check every one of them out. We're going to jump right into things today. We'll do the mentions later. I got a little Road Dog review for a little later on in the program. We're going to talk about a couple things that we got while we were out on the road. But right now, we're going to welcome Trey Galyon, comedian, musical artist. And they got you listed as all kinds of things, man. When you search your
musical
name,
artist, no, that's not right.
When you search your name, that's what you get. You get, because I've listened to a couple of your songs.
I mean, I sing in the shower and occasionally rap poorly, but that's just like if we happen to be standing in a smoke circle and somebody starts rapping and then they expect me to say something,
Exactly.
Then I'll spit a line or two that doesn't necessarily rhyme. I would not say I'm musical at all, man.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you, internet.
Yeah, if you Google you, it says Trey Galyon, musical artist.
That's so wrong.
It's totally missing, comedian, chief smoker, all the other titles that go along with that. Because you're the Duke of Wiedenberg, right? Wiedenberg?
That was in honor of the Queen's husband that died, right?
Oh, that's right. I
should probably change that. But I'm the Duke of Wiedenberg. Yeah.
I like it.
Borough, depending on where you're from.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Trey, welcome back to the program. You've been on before. Matt was kind of bummed that he couldn't be here because he likes to cut it up a little bit. But you over the last year, we talked about, what the pandemic did for stand-up and all these different things. And you also got into doing some podcasting as well. Was the Rough Drafts podcast?
Rough Drafts, right, with my buddy Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Tate, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Also very funny dude.
Yeah, great show, too. I've caught it a few times here and there. I'm busy with my own network.
Well, yeah, dude. Hey, look, I mean, it's not like I go around listening to all my friends' podcasts.
I just like the concept of that podcast. I mean, that's one of my favorites when I do get a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun and easy, and that's why we did it.
Yeah.
It's easy. Like, we're not, we don't have a Patreon for it or any of that stuff. It's just three stoners talking about movies they like. And
right. And that's what's the beauty of it. It's so simple and but fun and everything that you need when you're doing a podcast. I mean, we can't smoke in our studio here, but we do have an alternate location. When we know we're going to have shows that involve that, because this show's not always about just smoking all the time.
Right. Even though it's technically legal there are still places that tell you, hey, man, you can't spark up.
Yeah, it's that darn Clean Air Act or whatever it is. It's a whole thing about smoking, any type of smoke. So it's not just cannabis smoke.
You can't get you some HEPA filters or something?
Yeah, it's pretty stinky. Oregon weed is stinky, okay? I mean, it is some of the stinkiest stuff. Matter of fact, I mentioned the show that we're going to have next week, and I don't think you ever met the fella. His name is Troy Moore. He's the founder of Ideal Cannabis and Oregon's Finest.
No.
Yeah, he's an OG, but he's been around for a long time. But we're having a show next week. He has a new cultivar. It's called Modified Obama. And you can't. It's so stinky. It is like the smelliest cannabis I have smelled ever. Probably it is that potent.
Does it smell like women and children that have been bombed?
No, not quite that.
No, does it smell like lack of health care? What is it?
More like probably just that dirt and skunk and everything mixed together, but it's so pungent. It's just I haven't had anything that's quite that pungent in a long time.
I still have friends that are amazed when I'm like, no, I really love the smell of good weed, you know?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, yeah, skunk, that skunky smell, that diesel smell,
yeah,
all of them, they're all delightful.
yeah. It's pretty stanky. How are things in the big city as far as cannabis goes? Are you more accessible now? How are things
Well, I
progressing?
mean, it's always been accessible. It's just a matter of legality now,
Right,
you
you got to
know?
pay
That's
tax now.
luckily Cuomo, not yet,
Okay.
but yeah, luckily Cuomo sexually harassed a bunch of women, and so they were like, "Hey, there's legal weed." And it was like we didn't even
Let's
know
ease
that
your
that was being
pain. Let's
talked
ease your
about,
pain a little bit, and
you know? Yeah, look at what's over
well, I haven't
here.
well, Trey, I haven't really looked at the law for, New York and I believe New Jersey and a few others, in that area. I haven't looked at the laws on what how they're gonna progress into the retail market,
Well, they're
they're gonna have
figuring all that out
medical.
right now. I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like
sure.
this hasn't uh, it's not like it was in the news that they were talking about legalizing weed. Like I genuinely believe it was like Cuomo fucked up and he was like, well, let me throw them a bone.
Mm.
Here's some legal weed. So they've said like, you know, it's going to take a year and I'm fine with that
Yeah, yeah.
to figure out how they're going to open dispensaries and license it and tax it and everything else like that. So I just hope people pay attention and you know, do like states like Colorado and you guys have done where you keep the monopolies out of there and
Yeah, I
keep
mean, Oregon is, we've done a fair job at,
yeah,
keeping that at bay, but there's still a lot of foreign influence, money and stuff like that, Canadian companies and things like that. I mean, those are from countries, Canadian companies come up and buy cannabis because, it's legal in Canada,
yeah,
nationwide.
yeah,
So they know where they're going. They've kind of already started to navigate how that works. They got legal banking and everything there. Here, they don't quite have that, but they see the long term investment.
yes.
That's why you have companies like Select being bought for $500 million. Because they know
Yeah.
that's that's where it's going, and they have a plan, and that plan is in place. So big cannabis is alive and well, but I got to say, in this market and in Oregon, craft cannabis still reigns supreme, I believe. To
Right,
the
and that's what I'm saying, you know, where
Yeah.
a lot of cities and towns have tried to put an emphasis on local growers, you know,
Mhm, mhm.
and that's the way it should be. And you know, it's impossible to keep big money out of it. You know, like you were saying, if a company gets big enough, some other larger company is going to write them a check at some point that has enough zeros in it to where they're going to be like, yeah, man, you know what? You guys just handle this.
Yeah, take care of this. I'm gonna go sit on the beach. I've
Right.
reached my goal of not having, to do this.
And you can't blame a motherfucker for that, you know, for
Yeah,
selling,
growing
but you know, at least
it's
do
a
something good
stressful
with that
thing.
blood money.
Being a farmer slash grower is just one of the most stressful things. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is not easy to grow cannabis. I mean, especially good cannabis. So I,
Right.
I applaud them for when their success and all the fruits of their labor, come to a head and they profit, they move along, maybe go on to a different project, do something else. I think it's great. But
Yeah,
then
for
again, we
sure.
hope we don't lose that small mom and pop sensibility that we have going on
Look, that's the thing. It's just everybody individually has to be smart about
here.
stuff and just know where your dollar is going. It's that
Yeah,
simple, you know? Keep it in the community as long as you possibly can. And
yeah,
that's
agreed.
how it works, man.
Yeah, and Portland's done pretty good in getting like grants and for diversification and helping BIPOC communities get licenses to handlers licenses and supporting those things. Because you got to get those types of permits to work in the cannabis industry. So
Right.
I like to see the city supporting minority owned businesses. Not only that, but also just supporting the cannabis community overall. So
Right.
I think they know where it's going. I mean, I remember at one point back in like 2015, they were talking about having a whole green light district, like just a couple blocks of cannabis shops and smoking lounges and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff being talked about um, before the recreational thing really kicked in. Hopefully, New York and will implement something of the same nature where they don't have any tax for a certain amount of time, right? So let people get established, let them get situated, and then kick in those taxes.
I mean, I hope so.
A greedy state like New York can't pass up billions of dollars of tax money.
No, exactly. But they could also do the same thing as, like, again, Colorado, and
Hmm.
I don't know what exactly you guys do, but it's like, you tax out of state people more. If they're a
We don't
resident
do
of New York, they're already paying taxes into that system, so you don't
Yeah,
tax them as much. Out of state people, if you go in there and to a dispensary and you buy weed with an out of state ID, well, guess what? You're gonna get slapped with like a 30% tax or whatever.
I've never heard of that. I mean, we don't do that here. But
Oh,
gee,
really? Yeah,
no, everybody
Colorado.
pays the same here.
And maybe that's part of their where they let each town or whatever decide
Hmm.
how they're going to do it. But like Colorado Springs, like if you go to one of those dispensaries outside of Colorado Springs and buy with an out of state license,
Yeah,
they add on a little extra tax for you.
a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where'd you come from, boy? Texas? Yeah, that's 30%.
I think it's funny. We everybody pays the same tax here. I think there are some cities. I mean, because there's a state tax, and then there's some cities that can implement an extra tax. That happens. The one thing that was a big issue as well was counties and places that decided they didn't want legal cannabis still wanted to benefit from the tax money.
Oh, yeah,
And
no.
everybody's like, no, no, no,
That's not
no,
how that works, homie.
no, no, no. Yeah, that's not how you're gonna do it. Well, enough of all that kind of stuff. What have you been puffing on lately? I'm just curious. I always ask everybody that question. What have you been ingesting?
Lately, it's been runts
Hmm.
and platinum Girl Scout cookies.
Well, platinum Girl Scout cookies is dear to my heart, but the runts trend has really been going on now. What, for about a year and a half or so?
Yeah, and I wasn't super familiar with it, because it was a West Coast deal.
Mm.
And when I first got them from my guy, I mean, it was probably the same as everybody. I just looked at all the little nugs and was like, "Did you give me
Whoa.
like the ass end of the, you know, the big bag or something?" And no, that's just how they are. But then, yeah, ground them up and rolled a joint with it, and hot damn, dude.
You're just like, man, this is
Yeah,
next level, next
was
level.
not complaining at all. I mean, it's one of those that really tastes good.
Yeah, I've been sampling several different cultivars over the last I don't know 3 or 4 weeks just to have some stuff in the old review box, just to
Uh-huh.
talk about. And I've really seen everybody's up their game. I gotta say, I haven't had anything that's bad. Which is
Right.
good. I mean, I've had stuff that maybe didn't affect me, as much as it's a different type of strain anyway. So it was affecting me different. So I had the ones that I know I go for indicas and things like that. Man, I know right away if they're effective or not. But everything was really good. I haven't seen any bad product really to lately.
That's the thing, honestly, even here in New York, I've been getting my stuff from the same guy forever. And it's all coming from out west. But that's it. It's just like we've gotten to the point where, you rarely get that bag anymore where you're like, well, what the shit is this? Did somebody trim a little early or something?
That smells like hay.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
what's going on here? Yeah, those days, those days are gone for me, anyways. Bye bye
Yeah.
those days. But hopefully, New York will, adapt some kind of system that you can really, have a good choice and variety of different products.
Man, I hope so too. And I hope a lot of people just start growing on their own. Like I'm gonna as soon as I can, I'm gonna
Yeah,
start growing my own.
there's going to be amateur gardeners everywhere.
Yeah, they said 6. We can grow 6.
6 plants. Well, that's good. I mean, states like Washington State don't even get to grow. They're legal, but you
Oh, I
can't
didn't
grow.
know that.
Yeah, you
You have
can't
to get a
grow.
permit to grow, or
No, you can't grow. I mean,
you
you
just
have to.
can't grow.
Yeah, there's a medical program where they have a situation where they can allow patience to grow.
Right, like the
But
old
but
school.
if it's just you or me, we can't grow for recreational purposes.
But
If
what
you live
kind
in
of garbage? I thought
Washington,
that was just part of the deal.
no, if you live in Washington State, that's the twist on that law right there.
Boo, Washington.
Yeah,
See, Colorado and Oregon, you guys are really the models for the rest of the country. If the rest of the country would
well,
just follow the best parts of your guys' programs
and the
and
best
what you,
part of Colorado's
yeah,
blend
I
them
think
together.
everybody would be just fine.
I think so too. Any gigs lately? To out testing new material or anything fun like that? I mean, are the circuits back
Yeah.
open? I mean, are you guys back and working and ready to roll?
Yeah, everything's slowly opening back up. And I did last month I was down in Texas for a few weeks and
Right.
so did some shows in Austin that went really, really well. And then yeah, trying to work out, the next couple of months will be trying to hustle spots around here in New York. And then the fall and the winter, that's things are
Yeah.
gonna really pick back up again, hopefully.
Like
Yeah.
showcases and things like that. You guys got any, showcase stuff, TV stuff, things like that, big concerts, festivals. I mean,
Yeah, man.
with everything back
So
in business.
Bonnaroo took away their comedy tent, is what I
Really?
heard.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard that
Yeah.
that was like really popular there.
Right, it was. And it was a big deal. They brought in a lot of big names and then had some up and coming comics too. Like they did a really good job of booking that. But from what I heard, Live Nation bought it, and which you would have thought, well, that's perfect because they own all the Punchline
You
comedy
would think.
clubs.
You would think.
So, and I'm sure they do comedy concerts, but yeah, they got rid of that tent altogether. Is
Wow.
again what I heard through the grapevine.
Sure. Well, that's
So
not
that's a
good.
shame. But otherwise, yeah, clubs are starting to open back up. All of them have different capacity levels or whatever. Like the one show I did in Austin, the big one,
Mhm.
a room that normally seats 3, and we had 120 in there.
Talk about an intimate show.
Yeah, it was
You
great
find that
though.
difficult as a stand-up? I mean, I'm sure
Nah,
it's
dog. I mean, I've been doing it long enough, and
yeah,
anybody that's done an open mic for 2 people, or no,
I
man.
have
I like the intimate shows. I would rather, do a small club than a theater.
right. I
Theaters are
never,
great and make you feel good, but
I never really had the desire to do the stand-up thing. I have, a friend and a radio colleague who, did some stand-up here and there, and I got actually several radio friends who've done that. But I never really got into it. I was just more about cutting it up amongst, the crowd, and having fun and centering myself on the stage. Sometimes
hey, look,
it's
man.
scary, man. I mean,
Right.
that's how
And
I got
hey,
into
we
radio
need
to
those
begin with. So I could be a
people.
goofball in a glass cage. That's the only reason I wanted to do it, so I could be goofy in my own cage. So,
Yeah, man. Like you could be goofy on the podcast or on the radio or at parties. You could be the funniest guy at the party. Like
I don't
me,
even.
I don't need to be the funny guy at the party.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that's jobs for guys like me, and
Yes, yeah, man.
you
I'm
don't have to
glad
be
not everybody can get
24/7.
up on stage.
Oh,
Although
man.
everybody can get on TikTok or whatever. So you still gotta look, you still got you're still competing with the soccer moms that throw on a Chewbacca mask and laugh in their car.
What the hell is I mean, TikTok has just gotten absolutely weird. I actually perused do you do TikTok at all?
No, I'm staying away from that.
They're
Look, I mean,
anti-stoner anyways. I mean, they block stuff all the time.
oh really?
Budtendershirts.com is our t-shirt company that helps support the show. Budtendershirts.com if you don't know. But we put stuff up there and the shirt says weed on it and they block it out or
Really?
yeah, all kinds of stupid shit. TikTok is
But they'll let underage girls sexualize
oh my
themselves.
god. I mean, this is like
Sure,
a
that's
hunting ground
cool.
for pedophiles or something. This is crazy. I
Dude,
couldn't get over
yeah.
it. I was like, man, I'm just gonna follow food TikToks and car stuff. That was just like this is insane.
Yeah, I
They
don't
don't do
even
weed.
have it.
Twitter lets weed go through. Twitter's a weed thing.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Instagram's cool with it too. I've posted
I
many
think I've had
video
a
of me
few different
ripping tubes.
I know a few cannabis companies. They get their Instagram shut down all the time.
Really? That
Yeah,
seems
Facebook
odd too.
censors us too a little bit.
Yeah, Facebook seems like that's more
But
their
Twitter,
speed,
man,
like
they're just a bunch
family.
of rolling stoners over there. They don't care. They're lighting up at their meetings and shit, from what I hear. But
Oh, right on.
so any firm dates that you can tell us that you're going to be at that maybe
Oh,
if they're wanting to come
September.
check,
Yeah.
you know?
It's firm if I can remember. It's September 16th or 18th, one of those. But I'm doing a Doug Loves Movies and a movie interruption with
Uh,
Doug Benson and
yeah.
whoever else he gets up in Middletown, New York, up the Hudson a little ways.
Is he still doing getting Doug with high? Or
Yeah, I did a couple over the pandemic, but it was all over Zoom, so it's a way
sure,
different. It ain't the same feel as being there in the studio and everybody,
it's
smoking
like
out, having
completely
a just
different, I
big
would
smoke
think.
section or
Yeah.
session. Yeah, it's weird when you have a smoke sesh and then you look away from the computer, it's just you in your room alone. And I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say it's sad, but
we did some
it's not the
Zoom.
same feeling.
Yeah, I'd like to have you in the studio. That'd be more fun, but that, of course, we can't do that. But the one thing that I couldn't get into the Zoom meetings much either during the pandemic. I just couldn't get. It's not the same. I'd rather just talk on the phone, and bullshit around and kick some ideas around instead of trying to see you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was I was talking about it with some friends the other day about the Zoom shows and stuff. And yeah, it's just not the same feel. Your delivery is different
Yeah.
with a Zoom show than it is because most Zoom shows, I mean, you're not hearing many laughs because most people just straight up mute their mics or whatever.
When was the last time you were on Rough Drafts? The Rough
Oh, well,
Draft
we put
Cast.
out one a week.
Oh, it's one a week. So you're on every week, just about, huh?
Yeah, every Sunday we put one out.
Okay, yeah. Last time I listened was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, and I did hear you.
Yeah, man.
I just can't remember which episode. I marked it in my bookmarks because I knew it would come up.
What have we done? We did musicals, we did
I,
camping, we
I think it was the
did
camping one, actually.
Maven. I got Meatballs. That was my top pick.
Meatball.
That was the one I wanted. I didn't want anybody to steal that one. That movie's special to me.
Oh yeah, why
It
is it
just
special?
doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Well, it's Bill Murray, first off.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I was in the summer camp age.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school, junior high. I forgot the exact
I
year.
think it
But
was
anyway,
before junior high because
I think it was
it's
junior
dear to
high.
my heart as well.
Yeah, so that was and then there was plus it was the poor kid camp, and then the rich kids, went across the lake, Camp
Right.
Mohawk, and so there was an ongoing battle there, and so you really identified with, Bill Murray's camp, and it was just good fun,
What was your
Frank's
favorite?
son Morty,
Oh
huh?
yeah, when they always pick on Morty, that's one of the
Yeah.
best parts. What was your favorite? What's your favorite scene from Meatballs? I'm just curious if it matches up with mine or not.
Oh, it's and it's kind of silly, but it's the one that always sticks out in my brain is when he's playing poker with the kid for peanuts,
Yes.
and he's leaving, and he gives him that sombrero, and he's shoveling all the peanuts into the sombrero for the kid to carry, and he's like,
Yeah.
people starving around the world, and you're walking out of here with a sombrero full of peanuts. And sombrero full of peanuts was a funny line to me when I was younger and always kind of stuck. What's
Yeah.
yours?
I always like the one when he's sitting in at the restaurant at the counter with Rudy trying to get him to go back to camp.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, they said, he explains to him what's happening, and he takes out the Swiss Army knife. The Swiss trained me to kill, puts the thing in his hand, take the corkscrew and put it in his throat, and it's classic Murray, just it feels like it was more improv than it was scripted.
Yeah, just silly.
Yeah. This is good
Yeah.
stuff. Then they had to ruin the franchise by trying to make Meatballs 2 and then a bunch of, I think one other sad attempt at a sequel. But you never could capture the same
It just
energy and
doesn't
magic you
matter.
got there. So, well, that's
No,
cool. Yeah,
exactly.
Meatballs is a classic movie. So, are you coming to Oregon anytime ever? Are we going to see you guys come back
Again, at
through
some point, yeah, it's been a few years. Hot dang. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I'm gonna try to work something out. I got to get back to the West Coast in general at some point, and I'm sure the first stop will be LA. But just know that if I do get something in Southern California, that Portland, will definitely be in the back of my brain to be like, all right, I'll set something up in Portland.
That's how it works for you. Huh? You get the one, and then you're like, okay, let's string it along the West Coast here.
Yeah, or what would be really
Several
nice is
stops. Do
Doug
you
was
ever go
like,
up to
hey, man, let's
Seattle?
do
Do you enjoy going up to the Emerald City at all?
Yeah, I do. Have some friends around there in Tacoma. But that was another one. I went a couple of years ago with Doug. We did the Lemon Haze cannabis convention.
Oh, that was
So
that was a huge one.
that was fun. That was a huge room. That was the room where it was the they had the screens on the side, that have your face on them while you're
right.
doing comedy, which is the first time I'd done in a place like that had that set up, because it's weird because they're just the people right in front of you are looking at you. When you look at the rest of the crowd, they're not looking at you, and then you realize they are looking at you. They're just looking at a 20-foot tall version of you instead of the little
Wow.
you that's on stage.
Yeah, it's that sports event syndrome where you end up watching it up on the screen more than you're watching the game on the field.
Right, which I don't have a problem with. Yeah, do it. It just it was a a little bit of a trip to my brain, and it was like, oh yeah, that's right. They are watching me. They're just watching a much larger version of me.
Gotcha. If people want to reach out to you and find out where you're going to be and all that stuff, how do they get a hold of you?
At TreyGalyon.com, we'll have my shows on it again at some point in the schedule section or whatever it is. But then I post all the stuff about my shows on Instagram and Twitter too.
I was just saying they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter.
At Trey Galyon, TreyGalyon.
Awesome.
Man.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on. I'm going to do you want to stick around for the Road Dog review? I'm just going to talk about a couple products real quick. If you want to hang out, you can.
Yeah, sure, man.
This week's Road Dog review, I rolled over to Nectar Dispensary in Forest Grove. Sometimes when you go to these bigger dispensaries, they have tons of stuff prepackaged. It's all in and out, but you still get great service. And I just want to give props to Nicola and a few others over there that always give great service when they come in the door, and they always have a great deal. I walked out of there with some bobsled extracts. Now, bobsled is a great midline, and let me tell you, they are putting out some great fire, if you will. And right now, if you get a chance, pick up Garanimals. Garanimals, it's more of a sauce. It's very nice. It is CBD and THC. It is about 45% THC and about 35% CBD. And let me tell you, it tastes like candy, and it's very effective. And if you're looking for a good deal, it was only about $16 right out the door with tax. Pretty good, huh, Trey?
Yeah, that's pretty high on the CBD percentage too.
Yeah.
Like
and for that price point, it's a really good deal. So check out Nectar Dispensaries. They always have some great deals going in the extract department. As far as flower goes, man, I've been kind of bouncing around a little bit here and there, trying different farms and different things. And I tried a strain called Beazle from Wicked Farms. And so follow Wicked Farms on Instagram at Wicked Farms. Check out their flower where you can. Follow them. You'll be able to find it, but it's called Beazle, and it is like just a tasty. I got to say it's a sativa because it was kind of an upper, but the taste and the aromas are just amazing. So look for Beazle. You're going to get that nice blueberry, piney smells. I'm not going to go into it too much, but you got to check it out. So those are your Road Dog reviews for this week on the Old Stonies. It's kind of weird with not having Matt here, but thanks, Trey, for hanging out with me today on the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching the show and listening to the show. You can check it out at talkcastpdx.com. Also, check out all the great programming they have there, like Citizen Smith, Channel Weird, The Loud 100, Halfcast. The list goes on and on. Growing Green Thumbs with Portland Nursery. There's so much there. You'll have to spend a good hour just perusing around, checking things out. So check out talkcastpdx.com. Also stop by canacast420.com. We thank you so much for watching the Old Stonies, and until next time, keep on smoking.